On the campaign trail Monday, Stephen Harper announced a re-elected Conservative government would bring in 10,000 additional religious minority refugees from Syria and Iraq.
Canada has settled roughly 20,000 Iraqi refugees and now close to 2,500 Syrian refugees, and I announced today we'll be looking at another 10,000 from those two countries combined. But let me just assure Canadians that we just don't aim for numbers. We make sure in every case that the security of Canadians is protected when we're bringing people from these combat areas into the country.
The Prime Minister raised eyebrows Sunday with a promise to ban travel to regions controlled by terror groups. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau called the travel ban idea little more than a distraction from the Conservatives' dismal economic record. But Harper ramped up the anti-terror talk, defending Canada's role in the fight against ISIS.
And for Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Mulcair to say things like, well, we shouldn't be participating militarily, we should just be doing humanitarian assistance. Let me quote what the representatives of diaspora groups in Canada, those communities in Canada, said about that policy. If your policy is humanitarian assistance without military support, all you're doing is dropping aid on dead people. That's not acceptable. We are a country that can contribute militarily and in a humanitarian sense, and we are doing both.
Meanwhile, NDP leader Tom Mulcair launched his autobiography, Strength of Conviction.
This is a book that was coming out now in the middle of an election campaign, but of course nobody knew that until 8 days ago, that this was an election campaign. So this was supposed to be in the dog days of summer. We would just come to Toronto and have a little event in Montreal and hope that it picked up a little bit before the election started. Well, here we are, in the second week of Canada's longest election campaign.
The event was briefly interrupted by protesters pressing the NDP leader for a position on the Energy East pipeline.
Would be setting
your position on Energy East.
Oh, I can tell you that in a second.
Stop Energy East.
Sure.
So, quick question. If it is found to be incompatible with national action on climate change, will you say no to the pipeline?
Of course we will. That's what the whole purpose of coming in with a new system is, to make sure that we take into account climate change whenever we analyze a project.
From the Canadian Press, I'm Allison Jones.